Welcome back to the channel JF Coin everyone to another amazing and exciting video on our coin treasure journey where we uncover the hidden gems of history and value buried deep within ordinary pocket change. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American history, the legendary 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, that's right, the 1-cent coin that could be worth hundreds of dollars, and in some rare cases, even thousands depending on its mint condition and special varieties. So sit back, relax, and get ready because this story will take you through history, mystery, and real market value that might just surprise you. Let's start with a bit of history because every coin tells a story. The 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during a time when America was recovering from the Great Depression. The economy was slowly finding its strength again, and President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal was in full swing. The penny in your hand from 1936 is not just a piece of metal, it's a small part of American resilience and hope from one of the toughest eras in the nation's history. This was a time when every cent truly mattered, and holding a 1936 penny back then meant something special. Imagine buying a loaf of bread or a newspaper with a coin like this, now nearly a century old. Now let's talk about the design because this penny carries the face of one of the most respected presidents in United States history, Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. On the front, or obverse side, you'll see that iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word liberty to his left, and the famous motto "In God We Trust" above his head. Below Lincoln's portrait is the date, 1936. On the reverse, you'll find two wheat stalks curving along the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. That wheat design gives this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Now, let's get into the real treasure hunt, the value. The 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny may look ordinary at first glance, but its worth can be shocking. There were three main mint locations that produced this coin: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver marked with a small D under the date, and San Francisco marked with an S. The value depends heavily on where it was made and, most importantly, on its condition. Circulated pennies might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars, but uncirculated and rare era versions can fetch massive amounts in the collector's market. Let's start with the Philadelphia 1936 penny. Over 309 million of these were made, so it's common, but not when it's in perfect mint condition. A 1936 Philadelphia penny graded MS-67 red by professional coin grading services has been known to sell for over $400. That means if your coin is shiny red with no wear, you might be holding a small fortune in your hand. Now, the 1936 penny, minted in Denver, had a mintage of over 40 million. But finding one in flawless red gem condition is tough. Collectors love the Denver versions for their strong details and sharp strikes. In top grade, this penny has been sold for around $442, and in some auctions, even higher. The market value for this coin continues to grow as collectors compete for the few remaining high-quality examples. Next comes the 1936 S penny, minted in San Francisco. Around 29 million of these were produced, and again, condition is everything. A 1936 S in brilliant uncirculated red condition can bring hundreds of dollars easily. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The 1936 pennies have several varieties that make them ultra rare and highly sought after. One of the most famous varieties is the 1936 double die obverse. In this version, you can actually see doubling on the words liberty and in God we trust, and sometimes even on the date itself. This doubling occurred during the minting process when the die struck the coin twice slightly off position, creating that unique doubled image. These double die pennies can range anywhere from $100 to several $1,000s, depending on clarity and condition. Some collectors call it the Ultra Lincoln version because of how vivid the doubling appears under magnification. Now imagine finding a 1936 double die penny in your collection or change jar. You might think it's just an old cent, but in reality, it could pay for your rent or even a small vacation. That's the beauty of coin collecting: history, mystery, and value all hidden in plain sight. Let's not forget about the 1936 proof pennies. These were special coins struck for collectors with mirror-like surfaces, produced in much smaller quantities. Only around 5,000 proof coins were made that year, making them extremely scarce today. A 1936 proof Lincoln cent in pristine condition can be worth well over $1,000. Some of these proof coins display a cameo effect, where Lincoln's portrait looks frosted against a shiny background, and those are the ones that serious collectors dream of owning. When it comes to grading, professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a huge role in determining a coin's value. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Coins graded red RD are the most valuable, followed by red-brown RB, and then brown BN. The color difference happens because of oxidation over time, but a bright red 1936 penny looks almost brand new, as if it just left the mint, and collectors love that. So how do you know if your penny is valuable? Start by looking at the date and the mint mark under it. Then examine the color and shine. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, cracks, or any unusual features. If you think your coin might be special, never clean it. Cleaning can destroy its value. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and have it checked by a professional. Now let's talk about current market trends. As of today, a beautiful mint state 1936 Lincoln wheat penny can be valued around $442 and sometimes higher, depending on the collector demand and auction competition. Prices have been steadily increasing because these coins are crossing the century mark and fewer top-grade examples remain available. Collectors worldwide are turning their attention to early Lincoln wheat pennies as long-term investment pieces, not just historical curiosities. Think about it. A single cent from 1936, worth just 1 penny back then, could now be valued at hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. That's nearly a 44,000% increase in value over time. The magic of coin collecting is real, and it's happening every day for people who pay attention to the details hiding in plain sight. So if you have a jar of old pennies at home, now's the time to take a closer look. You never know, your ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be a rare and valuable treasure. Every coin has a story, and the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny tells a story of strength, history, and hidden fortune. From the era of the Great Depression to modern-day collectors' showcases, this humble coin has stood the test of time, proving that even the smallest piece of metal can carry enormous value and meaning. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story about rare coins and hidden treasures. Share this video with other coin lovers, and let's keep uncovering the incredible history and value behind these tiny masterpieces. Stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. Today we are talking about one of the most exciting and surprising discoveries in American coin history, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin. Yes, that small copper penny that you might still have lying around in your old coin jar, purse, or drawer could be worth far more than just 1 cent. Some of these ultra-rare 1971 Lincoln pennies have been sold for hundreds of dollars and even higher depending on condition, rarity, and minting errors. So sit tight and watch this video until the end because you might be holding a treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars without realizing it. Let's start with the fascinating background and history of the 1971 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909 when it was first introduced to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The design features the famous portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can be found at the bottom of some early issues. The reverse side of the coin originally showed 2 wheat ears and was known as the wheat cent until 1958. In 1959, the design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1971, the penny had already become one of the most recognized coins in the United States and across the world. The 1971 penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small D mint mark under the date on the obverse side. During that year, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, so at first glance, it might seem like there's nothing special about them. But the true story hides in the details. Among these ordinary coins, a few were struck with special minting characteristics and unique errors that make them extremely valuable today. The composition of the 1971 D penny is 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives it that warm reddish tone that older pennies are famous for. Over time, however, some of these coins have developed a beautiful natural toning that collectors find very attractive. What really makes the 1971 D Lincoln penny stand out are its rare varieties, minting mistakes, and overall condition. Now let's dive into what makes some of these coins so valuable. Some 1971 D Lincoln cents were struck using worn or misaligned dies, creating doubling effects on the lettering and date. This is called a double die error. If you look closely at the words Liberty, or I in God We Trust on the obverse side and notice slight doubling or shadow-like outlines, you might be looking at one of these ultra-valuable varieties. Collectors and coin graders pay huge premiums for coins that show clear, visible doubling under magnification. Another major factor that determines the value of the 1971 D penny is its condition, also known as its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, which is heavily worn and barely identifiable, all the way up to mint state, which means the coin has never been circulated and still has its original shine. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1971 D Lincoln penny in ordinary circulated condition might only be worth a few cents, but if you have one that's in uncirculated or mint condition, its value could jump dramatically. Some high-grade examples certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for hundreds of dollars, with exceptional specimens fetching prices up to and over $400 in recent sales. Now, imagine finding one of these ultra-rare double die or high-grade coins hiding in your old change. Yes, the current market value for a top-quality 1971 D Lincoln penny has reached around $442. And collectors are always looking for the best examples to complete their sets. That means if you come across one that's in pristine shape, with sharp details, no scratches, and that beautiful copper luster intact, you could be holding a real piece of numismatic gold in your hands. Let's also talk about why these coins are gaining attention in the collector's market. First, the Lincoln penny is one of the longest-running coin series in American history, and many collectors aim to build complete date and mint mark sets. The 1971 D is especially appealing because of its potential errors, its copper composition, and its connection to a historical era in U.S. coin production. By the early 1970s, inflation and rising metal costs were already beginning to affect the U.S. Mint, leading to future changes in the composition of pennies. This makes the 1971 D penny one of the last solid copper issues before the transition to the copper-plated zinc cents that started in 1982. If you want to check your coins, here's what to look for. First, make sure you have a 1971 D penny with the Denver Mint mark. Then, under a good magnifying glass, examine the date and the lettering for doubling. Look at Lincoln's eye, the beard, and the details on his coat. Any signs of doubling or unusual texture could mean you've found a special variety. Also, check the overall condition. If the coin still has a bright copper red tone with no scratches or damage, it's a good candidate for grading. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1971 D Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how everyday change can hide unexpected treasures. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or just starting your collection, this coin reminds us that history and value can come in the smallest packages. Many people have found valuable pennies in circulation, proving that treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. So don't underestimate that old jar of coins sitting in your home. Take a closer look. That 1971 D penny could be your lucky find. If you discover one in exceptional condition or showing any kind of minting error, consider having it appraised or professionally graded. Who knows, you might turn 1 cent into over $400. Collectors around the world love Lincoln pennies not just for their monetary value but for their deep history and symbolism. Each coin tells a story of America's heritage, craftsmanship, and the remarkable legacy of President Lincoln himself. The 1971 penny stands as a link between the classic copper coinage era and the modern production of U.S. currency. So the next time you come across a 1971 Lincoln penny, take a moment to appreciate its beauty and potential worth. You could be holding more than just a coin. You could be holding a piece of American history that's worth hundreds of dollars. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins that might be hiding in your pocket, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another exciting story about coins that are worth a fortune. Thank you for watching, and good luck searching for your own 1971 ultra rare Lincoln penny. Your next big treasure might just be 1 cent away. Today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating and highly sought-after coins from modern American history, the 1980 Lincoln cent, also known as the 1 cent coin that could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on its condition, rarity, and special minting features. Yes, you heard that right, the small, humble penny with the letter D under the date could hide a fortune. Some of these coins have been sold for prices over $442, and some even more when found in pristine or error conditions. So stay with me till the end, because we're going to uncover everything about its history, design, rare varieties, and the current market value that might surprise you. Now let's start from the beginning, because every coin tells a story. In the year 1980, America was living through an era of change. The economy was shifting, technology was advancing, and coin production was growing fast. The Lincoln penny, one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, was already a household name. It had been first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured the proud bust of Lincoln on the obverse side, with his sharp gaze, detailed hair, and elegant suit, a design so perfect it has remained for over a century. Now fast forward to 1980. The U.S. Mint in Denver, Colorado, produced millions of these Lincoln cents marked with the D Mint mark right below the year. But not all pennies are equal. Some 1980 Lincoln cents came out with stunning perfection, others carried hidden minting errors, and a few were struck on unusual planchets or with double dies that transformed them into true collector's dreams. Most people see a penny as just 1 cent. But collectors, experts, and numismatists see it as a small piece of art, history, and value, and the 1980 is no exception. Let's talk about the composition for a moment. In 1980, the Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, just before the switch to mostly zinc coins in 1982. That means every genuine 1980 Lincoln penny still holds that heavier, solid copper feel, giving it not only numismatic worth but also intrinsic metal value. A full copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, so if your penny feels solid and slightly heavier, that's a good sign. Now, the real excitement begins when we talk about rarities and errors. Some 1980 pennies were struck with double die obverse errors, where the letters in Liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust," appears slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. These doubled dies are extremely collectible and can raise the coin's value dramatically. There are also off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and even repunched mint marks, RPM, errors where the D mint mark looks doubled or misaligned. Each of these variations could mean serious money for collectors. For example, a regular 1980 penny in circulated condition may only be worth a few cents, but in uncirculated or mint state condition, graded by professional agencies like PCGS or NGC, it can reach values up to $442 or even higher depending on its grade and error type. In MS67 red condition, the coin shines like new, with full original luster and sharp details. And that's what drives collectors crazy. Imagine this. You find a 1980 penny that's been sitting unnoticed in your old coin jar, but after a closer look, you notice a doubled mint mark or an unusually sharp strike. That coin could potentially bring hundreds of dollars on the collector's market. Some auctions have shown incredible results for coins that were once thought to be ordinary pocket change. But beyond the money, the 1980 Lincoln penny carries deep historical value. It's part of a legacy that spans over 100 years, from the wheat ear reverse of 1909 to the modern memorial design introduced in 1959. The reverse of your 1980 penny proudly features the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, where if you look closely with a magnifier, you can even see a tiny figure of Abraham Lincoln seated inside, right in the center of the memorial, one of the smallest yet most fascinating details on any U.S. coin. Every time you hold a 1980 Lincoln penny, you're holding a piece of American history. Art and craftsmanship, a connection to the hardworking men and women of the Denver Mint, who produced these coins with precision and pride. Now let's look at the current market trends. Coin collectors today are constantly searching for top-grade 1980 Lincoln cents. With the demand for early copper memorial pennies growing, prices have been climbing steadily. On popular coin marketplaces and auction sites, collectors are willing to pay anywhere from a few dollars for high-grade examples to hundreds for rare varieties. A perfect MS-67 red example can go for around $442, and in some cases, more if the coin shows unusual toning or exceptional strike quality. So the next time you go through your change, don't overlook that 1980 penny. Take a closer look, check the details, the shine, the mint mark, and the edges. You might be holding a treasure worth far more than 1 cent. To wrap up, the 1980 Ultra Lincoln penny stands as a remarkable symbol of American coinage. It's not just copper, it's a story of history, precision, artistry, and hidden value. Whether you're a collector, a beginner, or just someone who loves discovering hidden gems, this coin is a perfect reminder that even the smallest things can hold big surprises. So check your coin jars, dig into those drawers, and who knows, maybe your next penny will be worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin videos, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share this video with your friends and family. You might just inspire someone to check their pennies too, because remember, sometimes a simple 1 cent coin like the 1980 Lincoln penny could turn into hundreds of dollars and a story you'll never forget. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep searching, keep collecting, and keep believing that your next coin could be the one worth a lot of money. Today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious, fascinating, and valuable coins in United States history. We're talking about the 1983 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a small copper beauty that hides a shocking secret, a cent that could actually be worth hundreds of dollars, even reaching a massive market value of over $442 depending on condition, rarity, and hidden errors. So get ready, because this little penny might just be your golden ticket to unexpected fortune. Now, let's take a trip back in time, to the early 1980s, a decade of change for American coinage. In 1982, the United States Mint made one of the biggest transformations in penny history. For decades, Lincoln cents had been made primarily from copper, about 95% copper and 5% zinc. But as copper prices skyrocketed, it became more expensive to mint a penny than the penny itself was worth. So, in 1982, the mint switched to a new composition, a copper-plated zinc coin, only 2.5% copper and 97.5% zinc. This change made the coins cheaper to produce, but it also created a moment of confusion and rare transitional errors that are now worth a fortune to collectors. The very next year, in 1983, the new zinc planchets were fully in use, and most pennies struck that year were the lighter, copper-plated zinc type. However, as with many transitions in the minting world, mistakes happened. A few copper planchets from 1982 somehow found their way into the 1983 presses. These rare transitional era coins became the legendary 1983 Lincoln copper cents, ultra rare and highly valuable. But the story becomes even more interesting when we talk about the 1983 version, minted at the Denver Mint. The 1983 penny was struck by the billions, yes billions, but only a handful of coins are known to have that magical combination of perfection, sharp detail, and sometimes even rare doubling errors that make them stand out from the rest. If you find one of these coins in your pocket change or coin jar, you might be holding a hidden gem. Collectors across America are always on the hunt for the 1983 Ultra Lincoln cent with clear doubling, mint errors, or in superb uncirculated condition. Let's look closer at its design. On the front, we see the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has stood proudly on the cent since 1909, celebrating the 100th birthday of one of America's greatest presidents. The words "I in God we trust" arch gracefully above Lincoln's head, Liberty sits to the left, and the year 1983 with the mint mark D just below it on the right side, representing the Denver Mint where this small piece of history was struck. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the beautiful image of the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful symbol of unity and freedom. If you look very closely, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, an incredible detail that many people overlook. The reverse also carries the inscriptions United States of America and 1 cent, reminding us that even the smallest denomination carries the weight of the nation's story. Now let's talk about what makes this coin truly exciting, its value and collectability. While the average 1983 D penny might just be worth its face value of 1 cent, the rare ones with strong doubling on the lettering, such as on the words United States of America or E pluribus unum, can skyrocket in value. Some of these doubled die examples have been graded by top certification companies like PCGS and NGC and sold for hundreds of dollars. A perfect uncirculated specimen with blazing luster and sharp strike can reach around $442 or even more in the collector market, depending on the demand and rarity. And that's not all. There are also known die cracks, off-center strikes, and broad strikes from this year that make certain 1983 D pennies incredibly special. Some collectors are even fascinated by color variations caused by improper zinc plating or exposure over the years. The combination of history, mystery, and hidden errors has made the 1983 D penny one of the most hunted coins among Lincoln cent enthusiasts. But here's the real thrill: these coins are still out there. In pocket change, in old jars, in your parents' drawers, in dusty coin albums, even mixed in with pennies at the bank. You could discover one today. Imagine flipping through your loose change and suddenly spotting that shiny 1983 D with sharp details and maybe even a strange doubling on the letters. That moment of discovery is pure excitement for every coin lover. That's why coin collecting is more than just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt through time. Now, let's talk about the grading and condition factors that affect this coin's value. The coin's condition is measured by grade, from worn circulated grades like fine or very fine all the way up to mint state and proof-like grades. A 1983 D penny in average condition might be worth just a few cents, but one graded MS-67 or higher can fetch hundreds of dollars. Coins with special air varieties or perfect strike quality have been known to command impressive prices in online auctions and collector markets. Let's also mention a fascinating twist: the 1983 copper penny mystery. In 1983, the official composition was zinc, but a few copper planchets somehow slipped into the presses. These coins, when tested, weigh about 3.11 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams. If you ever find a 1983 or 1983 D penny and it weighs around 3.11 grams on a digital scale, congratulations! You may have found one of the rarest transitional errors in modern U.S. coin history. These copper transitional errors have sold for thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands, depending on grade and authenticity. So next time you come across an old penny, don't dismiss it too quickly. The 1983 D Lincoln cent might look ordinary, but within that small coppery surface could lie a hidden fortune. Always check the date, the mint mark, and the weight. Examine it under good light, or a magnifying glass for any doubling or unique markings. What looks like an everyday coin could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Collectors and investors alike appreciate these coins not only for their rarity and value but also for their role in telling the story of America's economic and industrial history. Each cent carries the spirit of transition, from solid copper to zinc, from tradition to modern minting. It's a symbol of change, adaptation, and the enduring value of craftsmanship and attention to detail. So if you have a coin collection or you're just starting one, the 1983 D Lincoln penny deserves a special spot. Whether you keep it for historical pride, artistic admiration, or the thrill of investment, it's a piece that reminds us how even the smallest coin can hold an enormous story. Before we wrap up, remember, every penny has a story, every year has a mystery, and every collector has the chance to uncover something extraordinary. Check your change, check your old jars, and don't forget to look twice at those 1983 pennies. You never know when your 1 cent might be worth hundreds of dollars. Thank you for watching, coin lovers and treasure seekers. If you enjoyed learning about the amazing 1983 Ultra Lincoln penny and its surprising $442 market value, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another coin story full of history, value, and excitement. Share this video with your friends and family so they too can discover the treasure hiding in their pockets. Until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and remember, every coin tells a story, and sometimes, that story is worth a lot more than 1 cent. Would you like me to make this script even longer with a bonus segment that includes auction records, grading tips, and collector interview style lines for YouTube voiceover? It can make your video last around 15 plus minutes. Today, welcome back coin lovers and treasure hunters, because in this video we are diving deep into the amazing story, history, hidden details, and real market value of the 1987 Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin that might be sitting right in your pocket and could be worth up to $442 or even more if you find the right one. Let's begin this incredible coin journey with a bit of history. The Lincoln penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and it replaced the Indian head cent. Since then, the Lincoln penny has been one of the most popular and longest-running coins in American history, with millions of collectors around the world keeping an eye out for special varieties, mint errors, and ultra-rare editions that can turn this small copper coin into a mini fortune. Now, let's fast forward to the year 1987, a year that may seem ordinary to many collectors at first glance. The design of the 1987 penny looks familiar, Lincoln's portrait on the front facing right with the word Liberty to his left, the year 1987 on the right, and the famous phrase, "In God We Trust," curving across the top. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly in the center, with the words, "United States of America," and 1 cent surrounding it. But here's where the story gets interesting. Not all 1987 pennies are created equal. In 1987, pennies were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mark; and San Francisco, with an S mark, mainly for proof coins. More than 4 billion coins were struck that year, but only a handful contained special minting errors, rare die varieties, and pristine conditions that can boost their value from 1 cent to hundreds of dollars. These are the coins collectors call Ultra Lincoln pennies, perfectly struck, highly detailed, and sometimes featuring minting mistakes that make them incredibly valuable. One of the main reasons the 1987 penny can be worth a lot of money is because of its composition and condition. After 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from mostly copper coins to a copper-plated zinc material, which made these coins lighter and cheaper to produce. However, the zinc core makes them more prone to corrosion and surface damage, so finding a 1987 penny in perfect mint state condition, bright, sharp, and spotless, is very rare. Collectors and grading services like PCGS and NGC have recorded some 1987 Lincoln pennies in grades as high as MS67 and MS68, which are nearly perfect. These ultra-high-grade coins are what push the value up to $442 or more at auctions and online markets. A coin in such pristine condition is a real gem. It shows every tiny detail of Lincoln's hair, the lettering is crisp, and the surface glows with that fresh mint luster that collectors absolutely love. But that's not all. Certain era coins from 1987 are also incredibly sought after. Some of the rarest include double die errors, where the letters or date appear doubled, off-center strikes where the design is shifted, and coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were made using a blank meant for another denomination. Each of these mistakes makes the coin unique, and the rarer the error, the higher the value climbs. Imagine finding a 1987 penny with a strong double die on the word Liberty, or the date 1987, such coins have sold for several $100s. In some cases, if the doubling is dramatic and the coin is in perfect uncirculated condition, collectors could pay even more. So how do you know if your 1987 penny is worth hundreds of dollars? The first step is to check the condition. Hold the coin under bright light. If it has full details, no scratches, and still shows its original shine, you might have a valuable one. Next, check the mint mark. Coins from Denver with the D mint mark can be more desirable in higher grades. And if you happen to have a proof coin from San Francisco, it could be even more special, especially if it's in its original proof set and has that deep mirror-like finish. The market for rare pennies is constantly changing. With more collectors joining online communities and auctions, prices can fluctuate, but high-quality 1987 Lincoln pennies remain in demand. At the current market, verified and graded MS68 1987 pennies have sold for $442 or more depending on demand, luster, and eye appeal. Think about it. A tiny 1-cent coin that once bought you a piece of candy could now be worth hundreds of dollars. That's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know when a small piece of metal from your change jar could turn out to be a hidden treasure. So if you have a pile of old pennies at home, take a few minutes to sort through them. Look for the 1987 year, pay attention to details, and don't overlook the small things like doubling, off-centering, or unusual surface textures. You could be holding a valuable part of American history in your hand. Every coin tells a story, from the time it left the U.S. Mint to every pocket and palm it's passed through. And the 1987 Lincoln penny is a reminder that even the smallest coins can carry incredible value, both financially and historically. So, the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up, take a close look, because you never know, it might be an ultra-rare 1987 Lincoln cent worth hundreds of dollars. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the amazing history behind U.S. currency, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our exciting future videos. Your next big discovery could be sitting right in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a secret, and sometimes that secret is worth a fortune. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows? The next $442 penny could be yours. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story, history, and market value of the 1999 D Ultra Lincoln penny from the United States Mint, a coin that looks ordinary but can hide extraordinary value. The story of the 1999 D Lincoln penny begins in the heart of the United States Mint's Denver facility. The letter D under the date stands for Denver, where millions of these pennies were produced. In fact, over 6 billion 1999 D Lincoln cents were minted that year, which might make you think they are common and not worth a second glance. But hold on, because among those billions of coins, there are rare varieties, minting errors, and high-grade examples that can transform an everyday penny into a collector's dream worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Let's go back in time for a moment to understand the legacy behind this coin. The Lincoln Cent series began in 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse or front side of the coin features the right-facing portrait of Lincoln with the famous motto, "In God We Trust," inscribed above his head. On the left we read, "Liberty," and on the right, the date, 1999, along with the small mint mark D for Denver. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, an image introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Hidden within the memorial design, if you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside, an amazing little detail that shows the artistic precision of American coinage. But what makes the 1999 D Lincoln cent so special? The secret lies in its condition, errors, and the passion of collectors. When coins are freshly minted, the dies that strike them are under enormous pressure. Over time, these dies can wear down, crack, or become misaligned, producing unusual variations. Some 1999 D pennies have doubled dies, off-center strikes, or other minting errors that increase their rarity and desirability. Even without errors, coins in pristine mint state condition, known as MS coins, can command impressive prices. For example, a 1999 D Lincoln cent graded MS-68 by Professional Coin Grading Services can sell for over $442 or more in the open market, depending on collector demand. Now let's talk about what makes collectors go crazy for these small details. Most people never pay attention to the shine, the edges, or the lettering on a penny. But to coin enthusiasts, every tiny scratch, every curve, and every piece of luster tells a story. When a coin remains untouched, without scratches, discoloration, or circulation wear, it earns a high grade. The closer to perfection, the higher the price. The 1999 D Ultra Lincoln penny, especially those with full mint luster and sharp details, is one such example. High-grade coins from the Denver Mint have been sold for hundreds of dollars because they represent near-perfect craftsmanship at a time when billions were being produced. Collectors love the 1999 D penny because it marks the end of an era, just before the new millennium. It symbolizes the transition from the 20th century into the 21st, a bridge between history and the future of U.S. coinage. It was also the last few years before the U.S. Mint started experimenting with new coin designs and special state quarters that shifted attention away from the penny. That's why the 1999 D penny carries a nostalgic charm, a reminder of old American coinage when copper tones still dominated our pockets. But how can you tell if you have one of these valuable 1999 D Ultra Lincoln pennies worth hundreds? Start by checking your change, old jars, and collections. Look closely at the date 1999 and the D mint mark. Examine the coin under good lighting or use a magnifying glass. Does the coin have sharp edges and strong shine? Are the letters and numbers clean and well defined? If so, you might have an uncirculated example. Then, look for unusual features, doubling on the lettering, a misplaced mint mark, or small die cracks on Lincoln's jacket or the Lincoln Memorial columns. These signs can dramatically increase a coin's value. If you believe your coin might be special, you can send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, which will evaluate the coin's authenticity, condition, and rarity. Once graded, your coin could be listed for sale at coin shows, online auctions, or through collectors groups for hundreds of dollars. Some auction listings have seen 1999 D Lincoln cents sell for $442 or even higher when certified at MS-68 condition, a stunning price for a single 1-cent coin. The market for collectible pennies is always changing, and the 1999 D penny continues to attract attention because of its beautiful condition and historical importance. As inflation and metal costs rise, older copper-plated zinc coins like these are slowly disappearing from circulation, making them even harder to find. Every year, more collectors begin searching for high-grade examples, and that demand pushes the value up. Now let's take a moment to appreciate the craftsmanship behind this tiny masterpiece. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history, surviving over a century of economic changes, wars, and new technologies. From the wheat penny of 1909 to the memorial design of 1959 and beyond, Lincoln's image remains a timeless symbol of unity, honesty, and perseverance. The 1999 D version carries that legacy forward, representing not just a coin, but a piece of American identity, something small, yet deeply meaningful. So next time you find a 1999 D penny lying around in your pocket or inside an old coin jar, don't ignore it. Look closely. That tiny cent might just be a hidden treasure waiting to surprise you. You never know, your penny could be the ultra-rare one worth hundreds of dollars. Whether you're a casual collector or a dedicated numismatist, stories like this remind us that every coin has history, mystery, and value far beyond its face. Before you toss your spare change aside, take one last glance at that little copper coin. It might be worth much more than 1 cent, maybe even $442 or more. The 1999 D Ultra Lincoln penny stands as proof that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places, just waiting for someone with curiosity and knowledge to discover them. So keep searching, keep collecting, and keep believing in the power of small things that hold great worth. Because in the world of coins, every penny has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. Would you like me to make a YouTube title, description, and tags for this video to optimize for views and coin collectors?